We live, dog.
Hell yeah, man.
We're live, right? What's up, brother? Hey,
episode 1, take 1.
Take 1. So what kind of intro do you think you'd like? Like, obviously, I have my old stuff, right? We won't need to do like a song intro necessarily. I don't even think I have anything on here.
We will not have you write the lyrics for the next intro. That's what we're not going to do.
No. Those lyrics were pretty damn good. I'm trying to think. I had one that was non, how to say it? Yeah, I don't even know what damn buttons to push no more, dude. So like there's a way for me to channel this back and forth on sounds.
Yeah.
While it's recording, and I don't know why it's not. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me see if it's this one. There we go. Right. So here's a good one right here for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
See, now this one was a little more for the, getting the mode, the key sweat days.
So for the ladies,
right?
That's what I wanted to say.
There's no rapping on this one.
Okay.
There's no rapping, right? What's up, people? See, it's your boy. But if you wanted to laugh,
Slow Jamming James, and you're tuning in to another Kicking It with KJ production coming live from KJ Studios. So sit back, relax, open your mind.
Yeah, drop that baritone.
Whether you like it, love it, or hate it.
Well,
KJ, you get 100%
That's-
authenticity.
so
let's go.
Let's go. So that's, I guess we got to listen to it all the way through.
I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it.
Okay. It's better than the rap one.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So you'll find that as we go through this journey through this, right, you'll get those creative juices spinning up. So you've obviously been a guest on a podcast before.
No, never.
No, this is
Yeah.
so you've never been a guest on a podcast and you just promoted right up to co-host.
But listen, some people, when opportunity meets, when preparation meets opportunity, right?
Yep. Or the window of opportunity opens, take it.
Right. Exactly.
I respect that. All right. So, hey, everybody, this is a dry run, but it'll probably, more than likely, we'll post it and we'll see where we go with that. So, I'm KJ. This is my boy Khalil, co-host.
Also KJ, by the way. So, yeah, my middle name's Jamal.
Okay, so KJ and KJ.
KJ and KJ. So,
okay. So let's make sure if there's a third person that comes, their first name don't start with K.
Yeah, because we don't want that action. That's the wrong. We're promoting the wrong thing on that.
Right.
Point. Yeah.
So, anyways, we decided we would do this. This stuff has been collecting dust since about 2022 in my garage.
Okay.
For most, I started my doctorate, went to finish it. I believe you finished your bachelor's, enrolled in your master's within that window of time.
Right. I think it was right after you finished your doctorate, I started my master's.
Yep. So you have two highly educated folks here.
Which means we don't know shit, by the way.
We know, actually, that you bring up a good thing, right? So people will often be like, hey, what would you say your niche is? And quite honestly, I think as you get older and you experience more and more things, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm very good at a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me what my greatest thing is, I can tell you that the only thing I can default to is eating. Because I can quantify it.
Which is a skill, by the way.
Yes.
Which is a skill in either direction.
Right.
Is a skill.
So I would say one of the closest gators to the boat is you recently placed first and third. Right. Well, let's talk to folks about that. Right. So let me segue with this before you go into it. And one of the things I learned from my last podcast is I talk too much.
Okay.
So
that's one thing I've learned about you since I've known you.
Well, my goal is to do better at segueing with something and then listening.
No, that's fair.
Right. So you're kind of the co-host / guest.
Okay, that's fair.
Right.
And either way, right? So I didn't know that I wanted to do this at first. I just I started working out when I was in treatment. So everybody that knows me knows that in 2019, I went into treatment for meth.
Okay.
And while I was there for a 90-day program, and they had a weight set in the back. And so the only thing that I could do on my own, so I was the cook. So in this particular, it was a nonprofit, and I was in drug court. So they didn't have any like a professional catering. They didn't have a kitchen staff. The clients would order the food, cook the food, serve the food. So they had 2 clients that would volunteer in the kitchen, and it was supposed to be for like a 30-day period. I extended mine to about 2 months because I found it therapeutic to be in the kitchen cooking food. I still do. Like, I find myself every Sunday, like, I kick my wife out of the kitchen, say, please don't come in here for anything. If you need it, I'll get it for you. You can't help me. I don't want your help. I don't need your help. This is me. I'm in my mode right now.
Yeah.
Let me do this thing, right? So I would cook for about anywhere between 15 to 30 people, depending on how many people were in there. But one of the benefits of being kitchen staff was that I could use the weight pile whenever I wanted.
Oh, outstanding. Okay.
Generally, it was like, okay, you could only use it between, I think, like 1 and 4 or something like that. But because I was kitchen staff and I had gotten really tight with all the management and everything, like they trusted me. I was working a good program.
Yeah.
So I would get up 5 a.m., cook breakfast for everybody, and then, but I would go at 1 o'clock. I would go around 12 actually before anybody was allowed to use it. And so I was out there just on my own, and this is my first time really working out. So I'm like kind of teaching myself how to do it. And so I'm a quick study, but even then, just straight amateur hour, right? I thought I was doing some stuff, and but I fell in love with it. And so I just started working out all the time. Didn't have my diet dialed in yet though.
Right.
Did not have the diet dialed in. I just knew I had to eat protein. I didn't know how much protein. I didn't know anything about a calorie deficit. I didn't know anything about a surplus. I just knew I had to eat protein, eat, and get big. That's
right.
it.
So let me ask you this real quick. True or false, and obviously elaborate, right?
Yeah.
Because most of us learn this lesson the hard way. You can outwork a bad diet. Meaning, I'm a live proof that
this is a nuanced question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the hard answer is no. You cannot outwork a bad diet.
Right.
Right. But if you are a power lifter and you're not like worried about aesthetics, like the look, you can outwork a bad diet because you don't care about the extra layer of fat that's around your muscle.
Got it.
If you're just trying to get strong,
right,
all you got to do is eat in the surplus and lift heavy shit. That's it.
Versus the sculpting aspect.
Yeah. But if you're trying to like sculpt and like be symmetrical and everything, right, and then no, you cannot outwork a bad diet. You have to be in a calorie deficit. Okay. And even if you're in a surplus, if you're eating shitty food, right, it's still not going to work out properly.
Got it.
You can eat 3,000 calories worth of fat and not gain any muscle.
Okay.
Right? Because you need protein for that. Right?
Yeah, so true.
It's not calories. It's calories in, calories out.
Like if you're just eating all pasta.
Yeah, like let's say you're in a calorie deficit. Let's say you're eating 2,000 calories worth of fat. Right? Just fat and carbs.
Right.
Right? You're not eating no protein. Sounds like that's a vegan, actually.
Right.
Right. Well,
did you? I think we got set up by my son. We'll see. We'll see if it's even recording anymore.
Well, you'll have a very hard time gaining muscle without protein.
With the protein. Okay. Outstanding. So how did that work out for you? So you just decided like, hey, look, I'm going to compete. Like, would you say like a lot of us do these things that, like for me, let's say I want to achieve something. Mm-hmm. I have a way of telling folks about it because that's my way of making sure I finish it.
So we're very similar in that regard.
Okay.
Okay, because that's exactly why I announced it when I did. So, fun fact. So, my other friend Kevin, who you've met, we've been working out together since day one.
Right.
Since sober living, we've been working out together since day one. And I remember when I was like really, so I started watching a lot of videos. I consume a ton of fitness content.
Okay.
And that's where I got the majority of my knowledge from, right? From just following different bodybuilders and stuff like that. And I said, you know what? And I told him this years ago. I said, I think I want to compete.
Okay.
And I just told him, right? And so it never, like COVID hit, all the gyms shut down, and I kind of like, that fell by the wayside. And I said, I'm too old. I don't like, never mind. Because why? Like who cares?
Right.
And then as I started getting back into it and I started consuming more content, I started being more serious about like my diet and wanting to see how this whole thing, like I want to see my abs again, like, right. Those kind of things. I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to compete so that I can do the thing. Because if I compete, I have a why.
Yep.
My whole big thing with anything in my life is like, if you have a why that is more, that is stronger than anything else, that is stronger than any other naysayer, that is stronger
right.
than your vices, that is stronger than your emotions. If you have a why that supersedes all those things, then you can accomplish anything.
Okay.
Right. So I said, okay, my why is I'm going to compete. Now I'm going to tell everybody that I'm going to compete because I'm a man of my word.
Got it. So had you not told anybody, do you think you would have finished the journey?
I don't even think I would have took the journey.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't even took the journey because, as you said before, is like your way of ensuring that you do a thing is saying that you're going to do the thing, because then people respect the person that finishes the thing that
right.
they say they're going to do.
Right.
And I don't necessarily need anyone's respect, but I need my own respect.
Right.
So
right.
somebody asked me, they said, I don't even remember the context. I was at work, and it had to do with food, and I was like, nope, I can't eat that. Right. Like, it's not on my diet plan. My coach said I can't have it. And she was like, well, she's not here. I was like, yeah, but I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, right?
And your coach will know.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
When it's like,
it's a donut, right? It's a donut. Like, honestly, that donut's not going to derail my diet.
Right.
I know that, right?
Right.
One donut in 4 months is not going to derail my diet.
Right.
If I don't tell my coach that I ate that donut,
right,
why am I paying her?
Yeah, but I also think it can derail most, not you.
It can. No, oh, yeah.
Right? Because it's like, yeah, the one donut turns into the one French fry and turns into, I mean, it's if you can't respect yourself and have enough integrity to be honest to yourself first, right? It just says a whole lot about you. You know what I mean? And so I think that's the paradigm most people don't get when they're not putting themselves through that. It would be like, here's one. Yeah, I know you're a recovering alcoholic, but it's just one drink. It's just one drink. Like, remember when I said, hey, we're going to do this in my pub, right? And I've never really gotten into your past. Like, I've never really given a shit, honestly, as far as like, that's your past. What you choose to share with me is what you'll choose to share with me.
Right.
It's more of like, hey, I met you here, and that's where it goes. And I think this is a somewhat good segue question for you, because you're climbing mountains that go back to, let's say, your lowest point in life.
Okay.
Right? How many of those that you knew, that you loved, that you cared, that you championed, right? How many of those people are still climbing those big mountains? Because I look at you not knowing as the 1% that said, no, I'm making a change. I'm not bullshitting. I'm serious. And you took those little baby steps, and first it's a hill. You know what I mean? Then it's like, which mountain next?
Right.
Which mountain is next? Because I know a lot of people, man, who can come from here and they think this is it. Like, man, no, I made great strides, but I mean, you're still aiming for here. So how many of those people, are you still inspiring? Or maybe you're still saying, man, you're still on step 3, but you're doing good. Maybe that's as high as you go, but you keep climbing mountains beyond, I'm sure many people are like, really?
Yeah. So yeah, I need a thing, right? One of the things that we'll digress back to when I was in treatment. It kept me busy being in the kitchen. I was there all day.
Right.
I was there for breakfast. I did lunch, and as soon as treatment, as soon as all that, so I would start lunch. Sometimes I'd like put the crock pot on for a few hours, do the chicken and shred it up and stuff like that. But like I would so as soon as treatment was over, I was on to lunch. I mean, on to dinner, right? So like I had to have dinner prepared at least so that way I can just drop it in for like maybe an hour in the oven or something like that, or like I was constantly in the kitchen, and so I was constantly moving. And then when I wasn't doing that, I was in the gym, and then when I wasn't doing that, I was reading something, right? So like I stayed busy. I was moving all the way up until it was time to go to bed.
Yeah.
And so that kept my mind off of like anything. Like I was in the moment. I was always in the moment. And I didn't realize then, but as I look back on it, and especially one of my favorite quotes is from Lao Tzu. It's if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. But if you're at peace, you're living right here in the present, right? So, I didn't realize back then that I was living by that, but I find peace living in the here and now,
right? And
so, but I have to keep moving. Like I have to have a thing, right? And the idle mind is the devil's playground. That's what they say, right? Now, I do chill sometimes, but not a lot, right? Not a lot. So, like, I finished my bachelor's, and I was like, I took a few months off. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what gets you in trouble when you're younger, right? And it's ironic because it's the same playbook. I mean, if you go into alcohol, or if you go into drugs, or if you go into gangs, or if you get into carpentry, I still think it's the same blueprint. It's someone who has to always be engaged in some shit. And if no one is there to direct you that direction, then you go see what you're going to get into. Because I guarantee you, your playbook that got you caught up going the wrong direction is still the same playbook that got you going the right direction.
Every self-help book is the same playbook.
Yeah. Yep.
Every single one. Every single one. Same playbook.
Yep.
You know, they try to explain it in different ways because people learn in different ways, and you know they use different analogies, but it's the same playbook. Yeah,
because I'll tell you, so like this, you know, if anyone knows me, and my biggest champion is my wife, Lynn, right? Well, my dad, but you know, my soulmate, Lynn, right? And you know, we always get that paradox of like, all right, babe, you know, I'm trying to lose weight, so I need you to kind of be that, you know. And when she doesn't, I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So it's always lose-lose for the people that are trying to champion you and help you. And so it's a tough world to be in because the number one thing she says, she goes, do you know when you snack the most? When you don't have something to keep you busy. Mm-hmm. She goes, you snack when you're bored. And it's not a good habit because, you know, me and you met in the gym.
Yeah.
And so while I'm a pretty decently strong guy for my age, you know, I could look significantly better if I achieved what I want. Like, I want a little more better symmetry, which requires the discipline you talked about. I cannot outwork out the bad habits in the kitchen. But if I want to just be a power lifter, then if I get my hip right, just keep eating the way I am.
Right.
So, you know, I find it incredibly humbling and admirable for the things that you've accomplished.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Because it's not easy. I've achieved a lot of crap in my life, but it comes with people helping you, cheering for you, right? And as much as we do it for ourselves, on the days that you don't want to wake up or the days that you don't want to diet, knowing someone is there holding you accountable, maybe not in the person, like your coach, right? Those are the days that get you by. And I think your story is pretty awesome. So I would say if the camera's still working, which I don't think it is, Jesse, that
what's happening here?
It's I think it's not recording because we would see a red light somewhere.
Oh yeah, no, there's no red light. Yeah.
Yep. So
I wonder how much you got.
I want to give the big thumbs up, Jesse. When you listen to this, I'm giving the big thumbs up to you.
It's actually a thumb too. It's not the other finger.
Yeah.
Just so you know, it's not the other finger.
Thanks, bro. So this will be probably audio only, which is okay. Because we said this was a dry run, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, I can't blame. See, look, I'm trying to throw my son under the bus. is my fucking podcast. So
And it's your camera.
It was my camera until it got commandeered, right? So I'm going to have to fuck with this and figure out what's going on with it. I have a feeling that might not be the right plug. I don't know. So what happens is if it either runs on pure battery or it can run on the plug. But this is the irony behind it. If the battery is not charged, it won't work. It's really weird dynamic with this camera. So the Rode piece, I don't even know if the Rode piece is even recording, but it's okay. This I know is working.
Okay.
And so when I get back to the nitty gritty, believe it or not, we at 20 minutes, and that's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
Right. And so, folks, this is a dry run. I promise, Khalil will get better and make sure the equipment is working. What else do we want to talk about? It's Mother's Day.
It is Mother's Day.
Right? So
tomorrow. It will be Mother's Day tomorrow. Yeah.
It's Mother's Day's weekend, right? It was Lynn's birthday and Mother's Day. It's always within a small window of time together, right?
Lucky you.
It is life, right? So I don't know who our audience is, right? I don't. We will have to figure this out, right? Who the audience is. I mean, I would dare say if we were gambling people, it's probably folks out there who don't necessarily believe in themselves or people who just need some positivity. It could be comedy, like you know what I mean? I know you like to post stuff that, what did my man say this morning? We won't go there. But I call it intellectually stimulating things that quite honestly need to be talked about. Mm-hmm. Right.
And made fun of sometimes.
And made fun
Yes.
of. I don't disagree. And unfortunately, we've gotten to a place where this can be dangerous because Lord knows you're going to get a bunch of people like, hell yeah, and no. And we both like politics. Mm-hmm. We're both politically aligned, right? Which will blow some folks' minds because it doesn't fit the narrative.
No.
People forget that I'm also mixed, but... we won't go there. That will be for another episode when we plan. Because I started writing down... I started putting down notes, and I need to share this with you, called podcast subjects.
Okay.
And the only one I wrote down so far that we will talk about is you're only tired when you're losing.
That's interesting.
And I heard that because I think it's loaded, but I think I want to say it's 85% truthful. And this is what I mean. I can't think of the last time that I was winning, promoted, getting paid well, happy, that I felt tired. But I can tell you when I felt tired. When I was demoralized, when I didn't think things were going my way. And this came up because folks like to nap in my house. Napping to me is a no-go. And I know sleep is good for you. But I do take naps more. Not deliberately, though.
My wife has to force me to take a nap.
Okay, see, so if I'm laying there,
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh, you were snoring. That shit was 2.5 minutes. And then I wake up like, whoa, what did I do?
Yeah.
I will tell you that I did not see the Nuggets game last night. I woke up in the fourth quarter somehow. But I also will tell you I took like 8 Benadryls yesterday. But they're like the 25 milligram per pill, though. Okay. So like Costco sells one pill that's 700 milligrams of the antihistamine stuff. So I just did the math because Costco sells the little pink Benadryls. It's $3.99 a fucking bottle.
Okay.
So obviously through consumption, you'll go through it faster, but I don't take allergy medicine unless I'm feeling it. And as you know, in Vegas right now,
it's allergy season.
Post-rain, right? Allergy season, and it's all coming out. So
I've been on my inhaler like every day for the past 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, that's where I was yesterday. I was chill, and all of a sudden I went into this raging cough where like something was just, I don't know what it was. I was great. So I was like, well, I better take some allergy medicine. Well, I took 4, and it was nothing. It's like my pre-workout now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, where's the tingles? So let me double the dose. So I took another one, and next thing you know, dude, I was on like, what would you call that? Like, you're not there, but you're there. So I'm cognizant that I'm alive.
Half-life.
I'm kind of like just like zoned out. And next thing you know, dude, I slept all night. Like I was out. So there's more to that story. Like I could share with you. Like I realized for years I've been probably doing it wrong, and then I ran across the algorithm. And you can talk on this. So supplements, because we're talking about fitness, right? Mm-hmm. So normally I take a daily vitamin, fish oils. Since COVID, I've always taken zinc every day, magnesium, T-booster, and fat burner. And then I will take pre-workout with glutamine, creatine, and then apple cider vinegar. So I ran across a thing that says you should not take your creatine with your pre-workout because creatine demands water and pre-workout dehydrates you. So you're biohacking your system to compete with it, and one will lose.
Interesting.
Right? And for my entire life, when I load on creatine, I start having these wild-ass dreams. Bro, I've been wild-ass dreaming for a week because I stopped taking the creatine, so I just do the pre-workout glutamine, apple cider vinegar, and then at lunchtime, I will do the creatine. And I'm like, so wait a minute, I haven't had nightmares for a week. I haven't had nightmares or weird dreams until I changed my habit.
Okay.
But Mother's Day. So
hold on. But I noticed you don't drink water when you work out.
No.
So that right there.
Right.
There's probably something to that there because not to say anything about the dreams like that you might just have a reaction to it like that's
right.
fine because it does something to your cognitive abilities. It actually there's been studies to show that it actually increases your cognitive abilities. Creatine does.
Right.
And your sleep. It's supposed to make your sleep better.
Well, I slept pretty damn good.
But also, but see, I drink a lot of water during my workout,
and I don't.
Right. So, and maybe it's working, maybe it's not. Right. I never thought about the contradiction between the two. But I can say that number one, I can't function without pre-workout.
In the gym or period?
In the gym, I can't function.
Well, it is pre-work.
Right. I'm like
pre-work. We just leave the out.
Yeah, I've tried it. I was like, yo, this sucks. Okay. This sucks. But I do notice that I could tell when I'm off the creatine, whether it's always pre-workout. I always take it with I put the pre-workout and the creatine in the same jar, in the same bottle, shake it up and drink it, right?
Okay.
But I wanted to talk about your fat burners real quick because I'm like, are you just taking it just because?
I'm going to answer that. I already been asked this. I think it's mostly because the amount of caffeine that's in it.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's like melting fat away.
They don't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. They don't do anything.
Yep.
They are a scam.
Let me rephrase. It's this.
Right. That's what I was asking. Is it in your head?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I like taking $50,000 pisses and shits. But I will tell you though, Lynn will tell you like when I wean off, I'll go off cycle for about 4 weeks, sometimes 8. I won't buy supplements, and I will have raging migraines for about 5 weeks.
Oh yeah, no,
right,
yeah.
And so even now, I will tell you where I'm at because I'm 50 and I've been taking the same cycle for 30 years. Now I'm like, do I stop? Like, if it's not killing me, like you see people change their habits out of nowhere, right? Cold turkey. So I'm not an alcoholic. I don't do drugs, right? So I can stop. I can probably stop, but I'm like, well, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, my body seems to respond. Even if it's just this telling me, you took this so you feel better. And I do, right?
No, that's fair, though, because your body does respond to what your brain tells it to do, right? So, like, I've seen people, like, I've seen women become pregnant visually because they believe in their mind that they're pregnant, right? Just,
right.
You know, like they don't have a baby in there, but like because they've convinced themselves, like whatever mental illness they have that's caused them to do that. Like I've seen that. So that's a thing. Like your body reacts to your brain.
Right.
So
it's self-deception.
Yeah, the placebo effect, right?
Yep.
So,
yep. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to bench a lot today because I took my pre-workout and my fucking fat burner. No, I don't know. We deviated. I will tell you, I caught myself. This is why it's probably good for me to have a co-host, because it's also lots of lessons learned. And I will tell you that I have like, you've seen Nemo, right?
Finding Nemo or
Finding Nemo,
yeah.
Right. So I can be like Dory sometimes. Like, all right, yeah, let's talk about these. Yeah. Hey, let's talk about these supplements. Oh, it's Mother's Day. So, and you were like, no. We're talking creatine.
I had something to say about that. We can segue to Mother's Day. That's fine. I was like, hold up, we're not going to gloss over this fat burner shit real quick.
Right. Well, it ain't been burning fat. I'm going to be honest with you. I lose fat consistently when I up my cardio, and I have a small eating window, and I don't consume the sugars or breads. So
hot take. This is a hot take, and it's very controversial. Controversial. The only way you can burn fat is in a calorie deficit.
Right. I'm just telling you, I think most of my calories come from the snacking, like when Lynn says.
Yes.
So when I cut the snacking, then my calories deficit, but I'm not spiking my insulin with the sugar. I'm a sugar addict.
But there are things that you can take that will increase your metabolic rate to burn more fat in a calorie deficit.
What are those things? Is it legal to say?
No, they're absolutely legal by prescription.
Versus Ozempic, right? Which curbs appetite.
Yeah, which is not, not a GLP-1 inhibitor or anything like that.
Right. Because I've seen those Ozempic people, and my understanding is it is crushing their bone density at the same time.
It is, but only if they don't work out and consume enough protein. And
that's where they're losing it.
That's where they're losing it, because they'll get on the Ozempic and they'll just eat 1,000 calories in a day. Maybe they'll eat half their daily recommended amount of protein, and they lose bone density because of it. They're not getting enough calcium. They're not getting enough zinc. They're not getting enough vitamin B, A, D, K. Right. So they're malnourished. They're just like those kids on the on the commercial back in the day from the.
So you got to force feed yourself.
Well, no, you have to take the right amount that allows you to actually be hungry, so that you can. Right. So it's like okay, I'm gonna eat this thing, and I'm not gonna be hungry. It's gonna slow down my GLP-1, right? So it's gonna make me feel less hungry throughout the day,
right? And
so but you still have to eat your 3 meals, but you don't want to eat them. You have to choke that shit down if your dose is too high. Your brain is like, we're not gonna make this thing that swallows food work. Right. So and I've spoken to people that are on it. So you have to find the right dose that allows you to eat, but not overeat.
Yeah.
Right? And so I tell people, I'm like, all right, cool. Smoothies. Right? Smoothies. Just get some
sip it.
Yeah. Get some protein. You can drink, right? Okay, cool.
Right.
They have clear protein that you can drink. They have protein powders. They have protein shakes.
Right.
Make yourself a smoothie. Right. Get the nutrients in your body. Drink it.
Right.
Get the protein in. Get the veggies in. Get the fruit in. Make yourself a couple smoothies throughout the day, and make sure your calories are not too low, because then you get malnourished, and then your bone density is
right. So get the right nutrients in there, even if you have to force it. Because I know my when I've researched it, they're like, ultimately it curbs your appetite. Mm-hmm. So they're not eating.
Not even just your appetite. It curbs drugs, like alcohol. It takes away your craving your craving sensors.
Right.
You don't want to do anything that's like a vice. So
really?
Yeah,
I need some of that. I might be competing next year after all. You know what I mean? So, okay. Well, I'll just stick with my fat burners for now.
Yeah. The medications that I was speaking about, one is called clenbuterol, which used to be an asthma medication.
Okay.
But was found to increase heart rate, and which subsequently would increase metabolic burning.
Okay.
Calorie burning. So that mixed with T3,
Okay.
Which is, listen, it's so long of a word, but it's called T3, and it's a thyroid medication. And, it will activate your thyroid to also increase your metabolic rate so that you can actually burn more fat as long as you are active, right? But it only works in like a 2 to 3 hour window after you work out to keep it going.
Got it.
So you gotta take your T3 in the morning before you work out, and then it'll like burn extra fat, burn extra calories throughout that right after that workout. So, but
okay,
yeah,
you would never imagine that doing less. Most times, like we always want more consumption, more. The one thing to achieve that physique is less.
Oh yeah,
right. Ultimately, calorie deficit is less, and it's like, oh no. That's the one thing I want more of.
You learn about yourself. You learn so much about yourself when you are in competition prep.
Yeah. Well, I remember your RBF.
My rest in bitch face.
I remember it like, well, let me rephrase. I remember the progressive RBF. I think it hit you real hard about 3 weeks out from show.
I was also,
and you were over it. Like you knew you needed to get to that finish line.
Oh yeah, I was so over it.
But you were like, oh my fucking God.
They kept changing my diet, bro. Like they said, oh, you got to cut the carbs out. Like, what do you mean cut the carbs out? Like,
right.
Like, so I can only eat protein and minimal veggies. And I'm like, so now I'm...
Well, tell the audience this, right? How many eggs were you eating at the peak of the... You know how much eggs cost? I was on my way to buy some eggs after burning a few Teslas and vandalizing them.
I was going through about 12 and a half a day. I was going through about a dozen. So my wife and I, we would go through a 60 box in about 5 days, and that was before my last month, because I was eating like 10 egg whites in the morning, and she'd eat like 4. But then, so I've since switched to just buying the carton of egg whites.
Just the whites.
Yeah, because my trash can was starting to stink because of all the yolks.
Oh,
so
got
I would put the yolks in the bag in the freezer, because my mom told me this trick when I was young. When you ever have garbage, because we didn't have garbage disposals in the hood.
Right.
So you put the garbage in the bag, put it in the freezer, freeze, no smell, and then on trash day, you drop it in the trash, boom, gone, right? And so I did that. Then I found out I had shopping bags full of egg yolks and shells.
Oh, wow.
In my freezer, and she was like, listen, we gotta do something about this. So I pay a little bit more to have the egg whites in the carton, and because I don't eat whole eggs,
right?
Because you know how much fat is in one egg, bro?
I don't. I'm going to tell you, I'm not a big fan of eggs.
It's a lot.
It's hit or miss with me with eggs. So I can't do. I cannot do what you did. Like I love and hate eggs. The meaning, like I've just got to be in the mood for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no way you will ever sit me down and say you got to eat fucking a dozen eggs a day with lettuce and water. Or obviously I'm being exaggerating there, but I can't consume it. Like I just can't. So it's one of those things where.
Where do you find a good substitute? Like I had a friend. So one of my friends, she's actually the one that got me to like really commit to competing. She's going for a pro card this year.
Right.
She doesn't like rice, but that's like a staple of bodybuilders, right? Like you eat chicken, rice, and broccoli, right? Like
Yeah.
And so she's like, no, I hate rice, and I was like, where do you get your carbs from? She said, I eat oatmeal 3 times a day. Yeah. I said, okay. I mean, that's fair. I mean,
grits too, right? Grits are okay.
Yeah. So like grits is corn, so it's kind of a carb, but it's not like the kind of carb that you want. Like like we don't digest corn,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So
is that why it comes out when you shit?
It comes out fucking whole, bro. Like we don't digest corn.
Yeah.
You know. So
if I could find an invention to recycle it,
what shit?
After you shit, it plucks the corn out. I was like, I didn't know we didn't digest corn, but now it makes sense. Cause like
Yeah, why is it the only thing that's still whole in my shit?
Yeah,
right?
holy shit.
Yeah, we don't digest it. We don't digest it very well. But yet, like, so much is made from corn. But like, so if it's broken down already,
Right.
then your body can break it down. But like, honestly, like, just from mouth to gut, doesn't do it very well. So,
Sweet potato though, right?
oh man, sweet potatoes. Like sweet potatoes are like goated as far as I'm concerned. Like they're high in nutritious. They have high nutritious value. They're good carbs. Yeah,
Right.
they already have a certain sweetness to them. You add a little cinnamon, a little bit of cumin. Got yourself,
Right.
got yourself a nice
What's the bad, like regular potato is not the good carb you want though,
Not
right?
necessarily, right? So like, of course you get your white potatoes, right?
Right.
Those are like super starchy and they have a high glycemic index. So like they spike. It's all about insulin spikes.
Is that the worst potato?
It is the worst potato.
Is it because it's white?
It's because
I'm just joking.
I can't stand it. It ain't worse than those black potatoes. Let me tell you about that.
Let's not go there. We got to get our show on the road first, find out who our audience is, then we'll get really raw.
Hey,
Then I'll wait for like, yeah, Mr. James, can you come to HR?
Maybe
And
we should just make our show the most offensive thing anybody's ever listened to. Like,
oh, trust me. You said something, and I'll be quick on this one. I know I could be great at this if I didn't have certain things holding me back. That really,
clearance and shit.
like, if I didn't have things, I didn't have things to worry about. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
You know, if I didn't have to worry about, you know, this whole world of fucking cancel culture, which is obviously my buddies on the other side of the aisle. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that. Let me call his boss.
I could listen if I step too far across the line.
Yeah.
I could probably lose my job too. You know, everybody that is in upper management is a liberal at my job.
Yes.
And it's like whatever. Like,
Well,
they know that I'm not.
Let's
So,
preface this. Every liberal's not bad.
No.
Unfortunately, just like on the opposite, look, we just turned this into a political conversation. Just like everybody on the right isn't MAGA, right? Everybody on the left isn't purple hair. Let me go firebomb the Tesla fucking factory.
Right.
Anti-Israel, privileged little prick.
Okay,
You know what
so
I mean?
so I'm going to push back on that, right? I'm going to push back. It's like
Oh, they are. Everyone is.
I'm gonna push back. So it's because we're starting to see a divide. We're starting to see a separation of the left, right? Because you have a liberal, which is your typical purple hair, overweight, low T, Tesla
Giant glasses.
firebombing,
Giant glass frames.
yes, right? You know, soy eating. You know what I'm saying? Like incel, right? Like that liberal, like for the most part, that's what that is. Now, then you have like your run-of-the-mill Democrats, right? Which are like your default liberals, right? And the default liberals, like my mom and my dad, right? Like if they paid more attention to what the people that they vote for were doing, they would probably feel the same way I do about it. But they don't.
Right.
They consume all their media from the same couple of sources that are already like marching in lockstep with the narrative, and so then all they hear is Orange Man bad, Democrats good, and then like you're not hearing about what they're not doing, right? Right. And so, but it's the same thing with the right? Like
100%.
Like you have these same like this is one dude that I listen to. His name is Benny Johnson, right? Now Benny is right is right. Right is might. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he will criticize them sometimes, but like for the most part, like to him, the entire left is all bad. They're all idiots, and I'm like, he has this self-righteousness about him because he feels like he's on the right side of history and everything. But he puts out good news content, but sometimes I'm like, bro, like you're being divisive.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the radical.
Yeah, you're being divisive, right? Like, and so yeah. They're divisive too, but like you don't have to like be. What do they call it? They say the right is reactive,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It's like we react to what the liberals do, and I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be that way. You know what I'm saying? Like you have people like Ben Shapiro, right? Like he's extremely conservative, and like you know that, but like he's also of the idea of like almost everything about his content is like, I'm just going to say what's good about the right and bad about the left. Like, I prefer just be honest with me.
Or yourself.
Be
honest with yourself first.
Understand that, first of all, both do wild shit.
Yeah.
Right? Both do dishonest things. Both do selfish things. Like they vote in ways that are not in the best interest of their constituents, but in their donors' best interest, or their best interest.
Right.
Right. And so, if you can unpack all that, you'll find that most people are somewhere in the middle.
Right.
But they'll still lean a certain way.
Right.
Right. And so I'm like, it's unfortunate that like we're more divisive divided than we were ever before. But the left is starting to fracture.
Wow. Yeah.
And so like liberals can eat shit. Right. But the left can eat shit.
The radical left.
The left. The far left.
Right.
But a liberal doesn't mean what it used to mean. Because a liberal was for liberty.
Right.
Like your liberals were like freedom of speech.
Right.
2A.
Right.
Right? Fair elections, right? And now it's just like, how can I win?
Well, because it's shock and awe, right? Like most of my friends in all the places I love to live are super liberal culturally. I love that culture. I love the kumbaya-ness. I love having the diversity of eating, all the good eats there, right? And so to me, it goes down to what you said, right? It goes down to the whole, can you just be honest with yourself or the subject? For instance, a good one is like, you had nothing to say when President Obama deported all kinds of folks without due process.
Clinton too. And Bush.
But now you mad just because you hate someone, right? Or like we talked about the gym, market manipulation. Well, you can invest in stocks, so why didn't you just buy the dip?
It's all ad hominem.
Well, yeah. Oh, I was busy on Facebook doing another rant. And then when you commented on it, I had something bad to say about you. Like, well, don't post shit on social media if you don't want people to give you a perspective. Mm-hmm. Right? And I don't mean like being disrespectful type stuff. I mean, like,
here's an alternate
if you put something up there and I'm like, well, have you looked at it from this? Because I told someone to say, look, man, I can't vote for every single person's wants and needs. I have to ultimately decide what is best for my nuclear family. Mm-hmm. Right? And I had priorities that I was focused on. Your party didn't give a shit about that. Right? And it doesn't mean I'm against you in these things. It just means a majority of your priorities didn't come remotely close to mine. And selfishly, I served for many, 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 many years, right? The freedom you get to have when you woke up and lived in the same place, never missed Christmases, never missed birthdays, teach at university, poisoning the minds of people because, you know what I mean? And again, I have a lot of friends who sit on the other side who serve just as equally. But it goes what you said. When we sit together and talk about it, we are very similar in all our perspectives. Yep. It's just, you will never see a red car in my driveway. I will never own a red car, but I promise you this. Doesn't mean I hate red cars. Well,
statistically, they get pulled over more than any other car.
Not the cars I can afford. That's for the wealthy people.
Yeah.
The folks up in Summerlin, where they get snow and parades and shit like that. So
yeah, snow's overrated.
Yep. Well, brother, this was our first dry run. We did this kind of impromptu. We'll see how it sounds and turned out. I think so. Like, I think it went great. I'll be curious to see if this had any malfunctions. I will definitely go and look at the camera and stuff and say, what the fuck, right? This is the problem when you don't do shit for a long time. This is the problem when you put the accountability on someone else versus doing it. Mm-hmm. So, Jesse's not your fault, my fault. But ideally, we got it on here and... yeah, I'll tell you what, dude, we'll wrap it up because we're hitting 50 minutes, but I will leave closing remarks for you because this was so fucking all over the place and impromptu. I don't even know who our audience is. And maybe there's no one.
So we might just be doing this for funsies, right? Maybe we don't have an audience, right? And I think the reason is because like there's a niche audience that doesn't have a niche,
right?
That doesn't have a niche like genre, right? You know, So I think we fall into that category. Like I don't have a niche genre that I only subscribe to, right? And then there's like, you know, everybody else who has a niche. It's like, oh, I only consume this type of content,
right?
Well, that's not fair. For me, it's like politics and like working out, dieting, and shit.
Well, plus I got a third mic to hook up because we're gonna have to gradually get.
We're gonna get some guests.
A guest or guests. So I probably should hook up both mics. Then that's where the niche maybe defines itself based on who's being invited.
But even with that, right? So like, I'm in no way, shape, or form would I be able to like compare us to like Joe Rogan or Patrick Bet David.
Yeah, they're so below us.
But they don't have it. They don't have a niche.
Right.
They just bring people on and talk to them and have interesting conversations.
They don't bring people like me and you into their podcasts.
Well,
do they?
Well, Patrick Bet David does.
Well, he hasn't invited me, so let's make sure we tag him on this.
Have you checked your spam?
No. Yeah, this sit in the garage. I'm just joking. Those are outstanding podcasts, and I think it goes to you actually just tied up the conversation. Have a why, hold yourself accountable, keep showing up, and then you place, and that's where this stopped. But it didn't stop for bad reasons, right? Obviously, I went to school and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think our niche will be defined by showing up and then bringing in guests. But all our fucking people are either going to be probably military, recovering.
It'd be military, recovery.
We have someone starting their own nonprofit.
Nonprofits.
Right.
There are business owners, right? We can dip into the well and... Whether it's to just motivate young men,
right,
and offer, you know, perspective and insight on like the intricacies and nuances of navigating life, or you know, what do you think is the nicest, you know, car coming out this year that's made by Ford, right? You know, or like, you know, which actress has the best figure? Like honestly, like. And honestly, like I'd like to have all these conversations, right? Like, you know, like, do you prefer traditional beauty over more non-traditional beauty, right? Like, what do you think about the waist to hip ratio factor as far as like, you know, what men find attractive, right? What type of body style do you think girls want? We can have all these different conversations, right? You know, what do you think the best workout is for this particular body part? Like, you know, how many steps do you think is? I mean, like, what are the best foods? Like, there's so much we can touch on, and like, even like. Let's just go with it. Right?
Yeah, just free flow on, like freestyle.
Yeah.
Well, I came up with a nick. You almost could have been Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but because you're from Philly, but you can be Fresh Prince of
born and raised
Las Vegas, right? North Las Vegas. So
North side.
Anyways, brother, man, this was a great dry run. I appreciate you coming over. You're right. The niche is like, well. We're married men and we live in the gym and we work hard and like maybe this is just the stuff you do to have fun.
And I'm gonna say some shit on here that's gonna piss my wife off. And
I'm not.
So like,
where's the camera? I'm not.
Whatever.
I'm making a genuine face, babe. I'm not, because I don't want to put a bed in here. So, anyways, brother, man, this was good stuff. So let me see if we have any kind of parting sounds, real quick. I know you didn't like the.
You got to, but okay. So, but you have to play the rap though.
The rap one?
Yes.
This one.
Oh man.
Because it was very well produced.
I'm about to get wild.
And like I think you did a fantastic job.
This one.
But it was so corny.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so good and it's so corny. And I was like.
And I found this.
Okay, he did that.
What's up?
Okay, here, let's hear it.
Sit your ass down and hit the subscribe. In case you didn't know, KJ's about to go live. So hit that like button and shake those hips while I drop this knowledge and make that drip. The haters must have thought I was playing around, but check yourself out as you move to the sound. Slide to the left, then slide to the right, but straight down the middle where it's nice and tight. It might be dry, it could be wet, but hit the share button, please don't forget. And tell your friends KJ's live on set. boom.
The boom is what got you. So
It wasn't terrible.
So here's what you can do. On your next visit, because I think the next visit may not be a podcast, but we need to create an intro because we can record it. I need to study on remembering how to fucking record that shit. Because I was looking at these buttons, I was like, what are those buttons for? I can't remember. But we will definitely need to create that intro, tie in your social media stuff.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Tie in mine. But I would absolutely challenge you to bring a sound.
Okay. I
will find a copyright free sound and I'll send it to you because it does help. Right?
Okay.
The challenge is on. Because I promise you, as corny as I feel listening to myself, I'm kind of proud of my little, because I'm not obviously a hip hop artist.
It wasn't terrible for a non-rapper.
Not even close. I'm like tin foil. So, all right, y'all. KJ, Dry Run. Gonna bring it back. We're gonna have to figure out how frequent we do it, but we appreciate you listening. And of course, subscribe. You can find us on TikTok. We're on Facebook. Well, I have a Facebook page for Kicking It with KJ. Actually, it works. Kicking It with KJ. Just which one, right?
Yeah. We just keep that
right. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, Coach K 88 on TikTok. KJ Rose 702 on Instagram.
Pisces.
Check out my content. It's got some fitness stuff on there. Teach you how to eat. Teach you how to work out. Teach you how to look good while you're doing it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the camera stopped working because you could have saw how good he looked in the. I call them wife beaters. I don't know if that's appropriate for most people, but that's what we called them growing up.
Well, this is actually a tank
top.
This is a tank.
Oh yeah, with the shit I wear.
The wife beater is okay. So, you know where they got the term from?
No.
Okay, so the wife beater is the Hanes tank.
The ones I wear.
They call it an A shirt, right?
Yeah,
that's what it's called on the package, right? So in any movie you've seen in like the 80s and 90s, and anytime you see a drunk father or husband beating his wife, he's wearing one of those. So got it. So it got called a wife beater.
I didn't know the history.
Yeah.
Well, I'm changing the paradigm to wife lover.
Oh, here you go.
Because that's what I wear. All right, y'all. Take care.